I'll use this example, only this example, to explain this whole thing of inequalities. So in this question, we are given this, and this is a function. We are given x squared minus 3x minus 10. They say we must get where it's greater than 0. Where it's greater than 0. So to get this, we must the first thing that we can do is to get the critical values. The critical values are essentially the x-intercepts, or other people, they say the roots. So to get the x-intercepts, the critical values, I first factorize this. Then after factorizing this, I get this by factorizing. Then from factorizing, then I get the critical values to be -2 and 5. So after this, now I can see, I go back to the function, and I see that this function is an increasing function, and I know, according to my knowledge in functions, that an increasing function is like this. It's like this. It's shaped like a smile. So from this, then I just draw a sketch of this. After drawing the sketch of this, I write the critical values. The critical values are the x-intercepts. The x-intercepts, the critical values, I write them here. Then after writing the critical values, so now I go back to the inequality and see what I'm given. What I'm given, they say I must get where x is greater than 0. So I go to my graph, and I see where this function is greater than 0. So for me to do that, I must first know that over this line, the line where we find the x-intercepts, the y is equivalent to 0. Like here the function is equal to 0. And above this, y is greater than 0. It means it is more than 0. And below this line, y is less than 0. So here I'm required to get the values which are greater than 0. So greater than 0, it means I'm getting the x values that are above this x is equal to 0. So here are the values. The values, they must be here. So I must write it in a mathematical way. So writing it in a mathematical way, I just say I must write that all the x values less than 2, all x values less than 2. You see, all of them less than 2, and all x values that are greater than 2. That ends greater than 5, sorry. You see, because of here it's positive, and I exclude this one because of here it's where the function is less than 0. It's where the function is less than 0. If they required us to get x squared minus 3x minus 10 less than 0, so here I was going to consider this part. Considering this part, when I write it, I'm going to write it that the x values will be between 2 and 5, because of here it's where it's less than 0, because of it's below this. So I was gonna write it as -2 x 5 like this, or I can just write it like in interval notation. I say x is an element of such that like 2 and 5 are in the domain. So, or they can put greater, or they can say greater or equals to. Greater or equals to, it means that I need the x values where this thing is greater than 0 and also at 0. At 0 we know that the x value is 5 and also 2. So when I write it, I'm gonna also include the greater or equals to when they use this, when they introduce this. I don't know if I make sense. If I don't make sense, tell me, I'll do another example.